One of my favorite parts of Shavuos is the Tikkun Leil Shavuot. Staying up all night learning, go home, sleep until the afternoon, wake up and have cheesecake for dinner. Amazing. One of the drawbacks, though, is that every single year I miss the laning and I miss the Haftorah because I fall asleep. So I thought that this year, given that I won't be able to attend a Tikkun, we could look a little bit at the Haftorah for the day. So the laning for the first day of Shavuos is from Sefer Yechezkel, and it's called Ma'aseh HaMerkavah. It's Yechezkel's vision of the divine throne, of the being that surround the throne. And it's really fantastical, right? Just looking at some of the beings Yechezkel talks about, ve'arba panim le'achat, ve'arba knafayim le'achat, that each one of these beings had 4 faces and 4 wings. V'yedei adam mitachat kanfeihem, under their wings they have human hands. And if you talk about their faces, they have the face of a human, of a lion, of an ox, of an eagle. And that doesn't even get started on the divine throne itself. So it's this really fantastical vision. And what's amazing about this Haftorah is that the Mishnah expressly forbids us from studying it. How can it be that we are mandated to read it as the Haftorah, but we're expressly forbidden from reading it? And if we look at the Mishnah itself, it goes into the details why. It says, Ein dorshin ba'arayot bishlosha, velo ba'maseh b'reishit b'shnayim, velo ba'merkavah b'yechid. That you don't study arayot with 3 people, you don't study the act of creation with 2, you don't even study Maseh HaMerkavah, our Haftorah, with 1 person, unless the person is chacham u'mevin dato. He is smart and understands the ins and outs of what he does and doesn't know. And then it goes on and gives us actually even more detail. The Mishnah says, V'chol shelo chas al kvod kano ra'uy lo shelo ba la'olam. And if you don't understand how to give kavod to your maker, to Hashem, it's better you not be born in the first place. That's the extreme to which we shouldn't be studying the thing that we are given to read as our Haftorah. And Chagiga goes into a little bit more detail to explain, well, what does it mean that this kavod kono, this honor for his maker? And the Gemara goes on and tells us, Kol shelo chas al kvod kono ra'ui shelo ro'ilo shelo ba le'olam. Rabbi Abba Amar zeh mistakel b'keshet. Rabbi Abba says, well, an example of a person who doesn't give respect to his creator is someone who looks at a rainbow. And Rav Yosef Amar zeh ha'over avera b'seter. It's a person who commits a sin in secret. And then the Gemara goes on and explains, using a pasuk from our Haftorah, which we are forbidden to study, right? That a person who looks at the likeness of Hashem in something like a rainbow is someone who is dishonoring God. Looking at this act of nature and just seeing it as a rainbow is a dishonor to God. So to go back to our opening question, if looking at these revelatory instances is an affront to God, it's a smack in the face of our Creator, then why do we do it on Shavuos? Why is it our Haftorah? And Rabbi Ari Khan, who is the director of foreign student programs at Bar Ilan University, gives a really interesting insight. He says the whole year long, it's not okay for us to look into Revelation. But on Shavuos specifically, it's really important to do so. Right? So this mandate from the Mishnah not to study Ma'aseh HaMerkavah is good the whole year long, but on Shavuos it's not the case. Why? He says because on Shavuos, the first Shavuos, the Jewish people had Hashem reveal himself at Har Sinai. And we want to be in that same sort of situation. Why? He explains, the challenge of revelation is to avoid hubris. Man may become overconfident, deluded into thinking he understands what may actually elude him. So if we spend the whole year and we're studying Ma'aseh HaMerkavah, we're going to think we understand more than we do. We're going to think we understand divine mysteries in a way that we don't. Maybe we think we're parallel or on par with God. Rabbi Khan continues, to avoid this pitfall, revelation must be obscured and protected. Ultimately, if man wishes to understand God and his ways, the only way to reveal the secret is to learn Torah and perform his commandments. This is the gift of revelation, with which we are entrusted throughout the year. The content of the revelation at Sinai is the key to unlocking the secrets of the revelation itself. So if we truly want to understand Hashem, the only way to do that is through a life of Torah and mitzvot. And what is the cleanest way to access a life of Torah and mitzvot? It's to see ourselves as Bnei Israel saw themselves, at the foot of Har Sinai, having the divine revelation. And that's why on Erev Shavuos, the first night of Shavuos, we look at Maaseh HaMerkavah. The whole year long we can't, because we might think more of ourselves than we actually deserve. But on Shavuos, when we want to have that connection to Torah, so that we can live a new year of Torah and mitzvot, we have to have that revelation. Chag Sameach.